welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
An accent. We need God. Because only God can bring us out of this mess.
Wonderfully made. I may not look like you and you me, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name's Donnie Glover, and I hope that you are doing well. It's going to be a scorcher here in the city of Baltimore today. 95 degrees. Well, if you wonder what happened to old man winter is gone. But that's Baltimore from me. We go from extreme cold to extreme heat. I hope that you are ready. Get your water, get your ice, just sit back and enjoy this wonderful weather. And if you're in Baltimore, that's about all you can enjoy, because we're dealing with so much madness in the city of Baltimore. People don't want to go anywhere. It's gotten so bad outside, people don't even want to walk to the store. What have we become? What's going on? It's time for some mental health checks. We have lost our cotton picking minds. Something's fundamentally wrong here in the city of Baltimore. This is not our best. Things are worse now than seemingly ever before. And if you ask me, I'll tell you, it goes back to the days of Freddie Gray. This is what, 2022, Freddie Gray happened 7 years ago. 7 years ago, around this time of year. A little bit, what, April 27th, 2015. On that note, I want to take a moment and acknowledge Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today is the 101st commemoration of the destruction of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. It was a 36 square block community that was air bombed. They dropped a bomb on Tulsa. You've heard the song, if you're my age, around about, you heard the song, "You dropped a bomb on me, baby." Well, that was a true song. A bomb was literally dropped on the people of the Greenwood district of Tulsa. And this wasn't all of Tulsa. This is in the Greenwood district. And to my understanding, that's the northern part of the city. This is an area loaded with Black people where they had constructed 36 square blocks of businesses. And that is important to us. I'm a big fan of business. I like to think I'm one of the biggest fans ever of Black business. I've been involved in my family's business my entire life. And now I have my own business. So, 30 plus years working for my mom and dad, and then 20 years working for myself. And it's not like I didn't have jobs elsewhere, but the family business was everything. I remember answering the phone as a young kid. Good morning, Michael Randolph down in Tampa. Good evening, Glover's Funeral Chapel. How may I help you? 6 years old. They were grooming me to answer the phone. And I can tell you still today, the customer service is everything. So we want to acknowledge the people of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. Again, do pick up a copy of I Am Black Wall Street. That's my book. There are two heroes in this book. One hero is a Black man, and one hero is a white man. And I need to let people know that, because sometimes I get some of them J6 people talking smack online. I am white Wall Street. Okay, well, knock yourself out. But I am Black Wall Street. And I go into the story of how those people got to Oklahoma, the first wave of people back in the year 1843. There was a black man named Chief John Horse. He came out of Florida. Andrew Jackson and others had been fighting them. It was called the Seminole Wars. We never talked about it in our history classes. But long story short, the Trail of Tears began down there in Florida. And not all of the blacks on the Trail of Tears were slaves. That's what I found out in my book. As a matter of fact, the first wave of black people out of Florida were soldiers. And they were promised that if they put their arms down and stopped fighting, particularly the Second Seminole War, that they would be able to move freely to Oklahoma. So there's been a story painted that the first blacks that went to Oklahoma were slaves because the Indians did have slaves. But what's not told to us is that the first wave was soldiers. And not only that, Chief John Horse led him, called him Gopher John. He had a few nicknames. But when they got to Oklahoma, the U.S. government did what the U.S. government does, particularly to anybody who's not white and male. They reneged. They reneged on the people. And so then Chief John Horse led his black troops all the way to Nacimiento, Mexico. Now, that's a bad man. You never heard about him in your history. Chief John Horse, a bad man. We done heard a lot of stories. Tucson Lover Jordan, that's a bad black man. Matthew Henson, all up in the North Pole. Too cold for me, Matthew. I'm going to have to catch you at least around Canada. But this story here, and let me tell you about Captain John Brown. So the first wave came out of Florida. The second wave came out of Kansas. Kansas had been made popular. As a state was going to join the Union, they had to choose whether they were a free state or a slave state. And there were those that wanted to make Kansas a slave state. And there were white people who opposed this. And we called them the Jayhawkers. So you watch basketball, college basketball, you know about the Kansas Jayhawkers. They are our friends. The Jayhawkers were against slavery. So as people were pushing up on them, hey, you got to vote for slavery. Hey, you got to vote for slavery. John Brown was returning fire, literally. And his actions ultimately led to the Civil War, where slavery was ended. But I got some thoughts I want to share with you on the city of Baltimore. And to do that, I can't find a better person. Hey there, man. What are you doing?
Good morning.
It's early for you. I thought you were early riser, Chuck Lee.
I'm an early riser, bro. How are you today?
I'm good. First of all, welcome to the family. We're going to try to get you your own show on this network, Chuck Lee.
Hey, I appreciate it. Much appreciated.
Tell them who you are, Chuck.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone out in Facebook and radio land, that is. Charles Lee, that's recently retired from the Baltimore City Police Department, over 28 plus years of honorable service to my city that I love. And I'm just happy to be on with Doni this morning.
You know, Chuck, I'm watching the news last night. I went down to the harbor yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just put my protest out. When I go to Chipotle, y'all gonna have to get that vinaigrette together. I'm serious. I've been to y'all several times and y'all haven't had my Chipotle vinaigrette dressing. So whoever's working at Chipotle, y'all gonna have to get that blended together because the Chipotle just ain't the same without the vinaigrette. And yes, I'm a big fan of black business, but don't get in the middle of me and my Chipotle. But I'm down at the harbor, and it dawned on me, Chuck, actually came through the harbor, I think the day that the young people got shot. And I'm wondering if while I was down there, I saw them.
Mm.
But this has got to stop, Chuck. This senseless murder.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, what happens when you would have to, or when an officer pulls up onto a scene? Explain that to me, because I've been watching a lot. You ever watch Bosch? I've been what do you call it, binging on this detective show about Harry Bosch, Bosch, and he's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much a good cop.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a little reckless at times, but for all intents and purposes, I like the image that I'm getting. But you do have officers who care. You are an officer who cared. What happens when you pull up on a murder scene? What's the first thing that happens?
Wow, man, it's a lot, man. You definitely try to get there and render aid, number one, see if whoever the victim is, and try to get them, some kind of medical attention as soon as possible, to try to preserve their life. You want to try to get that crowd back because you have a lot going on when you have a scene, whether they shot, whether they've been stabbed or whatever it may be. You want to get them aid first. You want to get that ambulance rolling. You want to get that medical attention to try to preserve and save their life. And hopefully by then you have some backup officers or coming on the scene to help preserve that scene and try to get that crowd back so we can do what we need to do. The paramedics can do what they need to do, and we can hopefully get some witnesses to tell us what happened before we arrived.
So this all happens in the first 3 or 4 minutes. So the first
Absolutely.
3 or 4 minutes on the scene, I guess it's like being in the middle of the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
It's just mayhem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You try to get that individual help quick, fast, and in a hurry. And, you want to get that crowd back, also to give, the paramedics, the police to get in there and do their job. And like I said, to try to preserve that crime scene. It's hard to do your job when you have, 30 to 40 people surrounding that victim. You have family members, you have bystanders, and you just have people there that's nosy, want to be in the middle of all things while you try to, do your investigation. Ultimately to save that individual's life also.
When people step to the victim, they have stepped into an active crime scene.
Absolutely. So hopefully, you have that officer that come in with crime scene tape to preserve that area, whatever he or she needs to preserve that area. And we want the crowd to stay back. But most times in Baltimore, we had people that breach that line, to come inside the crime scene and, try to tamper with it. Understand it might be a loved one. I mean, we're very sympathetic, to that victim. We understand that, hey, this is your loved one, but we're trying to get them help and trying to preserve what had happened. So, in most cases, you have a ruckus crowd, you have a rowdy crowd, you have an agitated crowd, they want answers, we want to give answers, but at that time, you must let the, law enforcement do their job at that given time. And granted, we will talk to you, we will interview you, we will, hey, help us, much as you can. But in most cases in the city, we get the opposite. We see stuff, we don't want to say anything. And we need to stop that habit. Stop, hey, they have a family too. They have loved ones too that want answers. So, it's a hand in hand situation.
Chuck Lee, I think this would be a good time to tell folks how we first met.
So of course we go back a few years during the Freddie Gray riots on the Avenue, and I happened to see Donnie, and myself, my partner, and we had to enlighten him with the truth of what was really going on. We had to educate Donnie, what was really happening behind the scenes and what led to this. And I told Donnie before I was listening to him, many moons before I even met him in person on the radio, hearing him, seeing his face on a WBAL on Saturday mornings, giving it, a political advice. So this particular day, I saw Donnie. I said, hey, let me pull this brother up while I got him, this opportunity. And we begin to talk about Freddie Gray, what happened, what led to Freddie Gray, and why we're here during that time. And ever since then, we became the best of friends, always bouncing off each other, keeping it real with one another, sharpening iron with one another, So it's been great. And, since the fellowship, since the reunion, since the union. So good man, great man.
Well, bless your heart. That's the clean version. So June 11th, we have a big event coming up. You, Officer Evan Anderson, Chaplain Dave Lovelace. What are we going to be doing on June 11th?
Oh, man. Ooh, June 11th. Absolutely. Pennsylvania Avenue Parade. And we just want everybody to come out. We'll be starting at 11 o'clock that Saturday morning at the top of Pennsylvania North Avenue. We have marching bands. We have convertible Corvettes. We have motorcycle bands. You name it. We have people from the community, churches from the community, vendors from the community coming out. It's a free day, no pay, free day. But we want everyone to come out to enjoy the festivities of the marching bands. We want to bring some light, want to bring some peace, some positive energy back to that area, the Sandtown, Winchester, up in Pennsylvania, North Avenue. So we're starting at 11, as I stated before, and we're marching. The marching bands will be marching all the way down to Pennsylvania and Dolphin Street. We'll be on the Robert C. Marshall Field for live activities. We have a few jazz bands. We have some things and giveaways for families, for children, free food, as I stated before. But we just want to highlight this day for peace in the community, unity in the community. We just want to come out, have fun. And since COVID, we really haven't been able to do a lot. But this day, we just praying for peace, praying for love to everybody that's to come out and enjoy themselves.
So, who are your partners? Who are your other partners?
Absolutely. As Donnie stated, we have Evan Anderson, my partner, also presently working for the Baltimore City Police Department. We have Chaplain Dave. He'll be there. He integral part of this process, and also Doni, who's on right now. I mean, with us four, along with other various partners, putting it together. Everyone hands in, hands on deck to make this a successful day, successful event. And I believe it's going to work out. I believe we're going to have a great day of nonviolence, a great day of love, of unity, and just having fun.
Why did those kids on the avenue respect you?
Well, you got to give respect to get respect, to get respect. So what I mean is, growing up, working on Pennsylvania Avenue, down between Pennsylvania and Dolphin, I worked at Robert C. Marshall Rec Center. But back then it was a police athletic league where kids in the community, kids in the area, McCullough Homes, Old Murphy Homes, Heritage Crossing, Edding Street, that corridor, Sandtown, will come to the center to play, to have fun, to be kids, and during that interaction, I built a relationship with a lot of kids in the community who are now young adults who have kids now. And in order to do that, you got to show the human side of your life, no matter what you do. And during that 10-year plus tenure, I had the opportunity to work with some of the greatest kids in West Baltimore. I had the opportunity to come in some of the homes in West Baltimore where I was trusted, I was respected, and I was the one that, people felt free to come to no matter what they were dealing with or what they were going through. That was a bond. That was a unique bond where you didn't have to call 911 because you had trust in the police. You had trust in your neighborhood officer. And no matter what the situation might have been, where you have a person in a family who was addicted to drugs or alcohol, you still could come and say, hey, we need help. And without telling anyone, without going and spreading someone's business, you were able to connect and do things for them to help that family out. And through them years of bonding, through those years of togetherness, it was great. We built the rapport. And even to this day, I still see the young men and still see the young women who have aged and, have their own kids. And they always ask, why don't you come back, or why this is not in place? I would try to give them, positive advice, but, time moves on and the powers that be see things differently. I wish I had the power to change those things, but the uniqueness and the bond between the police and the community during that stage of time was great. I could walk up to anyone. I can go into your house without you being afraid. I can go and sit at your table. We can have a glass of water and everything. We can talk it out. When mom and daddy was, beefing and had a domestic argument, you can say, hey, come on up in there. We got an issue right now. You didn't have to call 911 because you knew if I would come into your house, I would come into your location, things will be done the right way. It wasn't picking sides, but it was, hey, this is what we need to do today. So those days are somewhat long gone. We need to get back to the basics, and getting back to the basics means you got to know your people. You have to know your community. You got to know who you work for, who you work with every day. You got to know who's on them corners. You got to know Miss Abel down the street that want to come outside, but she can't come outside because she got to walk through 10 people on the corner in order to get to the corner store. So you have to engage and re-engage with your community. You have to re-engage with the citizens. You have to be friendly. You have to take time and put your ego aside and come and deal with the community right where they are. You can't can't go above them, but you got to meet the community, meet the citizens, as I stated before, right where they are.
Now, Chuck Lee, you are a member of a church,
Yes, sir.
and you're one of those Christians who is not afraid to have prayer.
Absolutely,
Have,
absolutely.
have you ever prayed for anybody at the Avenue Market?
Absolutely, absolutely. Not only the Avenue Market, many a person. I don't talk about what I do, but your light should shine, so makes you see the Jesus in you. Man. That's how I feel. I shouldn't have to tell anybody what I do, but what you do, your service, and how you live your life should be an example. I shouldn't have to. You a person shouldn't say, "Hey, I'm a pastor, I'm a X, Y, and Z," but how you carry yourself, how you treat people, and as Donnie stated, many a person that stopped me in my travels. That's to have prayer and I would do it. I wouldn't hesitate twice, whether we outside on a corner, whether we inside of a store, whether we in a bus stop, and if somebody asks, that's what you do. You take that time and say, hey, you know what? Let's hold hands right now, and we're going to believe that whatever you're dealing with, God's going to see you through. That's the aspect. I mean, we all are servants out here. We got to come outside of our church walls, outside of the comforts of being inside of a building. But that's true ministry. And I believe God put me in the police department for that reason and many other reasons, but to touch lives.
Chuck, I've been asked to run for mayor on more than one occasion. If I were to run for mayor, you would be a part of my executive team. And not just protection for me, but for the people of Baltimore. I have seen you, Evan, even Iris Martin, hand out job applications at the Avenue Market.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world was that all about?
Hey, you have to, like I said before, you have to meet the people right where they are. Without giving people. Most people are not going to go to an interview. Most people are not going to catch the bus cross town to a job fair. So for us, we would bring it to them to alleviate the excuses, to give them motivation. Here, check this out. This is what we have for you. That's all you got to do. Fill this out. We'll take it back and make sure you answer your phone. Make sure you come through. And we will go as far as even to transport individuals to the work site, to their interview. So hey, you can't make it, or you short, your change is strange. We want to make sure you get there. We want to provide a service, so you can make it to your interview, so you can help your family, so you can bring some income to your home, so you can make sure food is on your table. So we will go that extra step.
Were your superiors aware of these extra efforts?
Some were, but some wasn't. And
Okay. Okay. Do you know why I ask?
No,
Because
no.
people get paid a lot of money. Like we have a problem in Baltimore with crime and with education.
Mm-hmm.
People get paid a lot of money to run the police department. People get paid a lot of money to run public education. But it was a brother who had spent some time in prison, and he was speaking down at the War Memorial Building. Brother, I don't remember your name, but I do remember the message. It was about 1.5 years ago. He said, the people at the top of the ship are not talking to the people at the bottom of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
When the people at the top of the ship are not talking to the people at the bottom of the ship, that's what you got. You got a gap. In Cool Hand Luke, they say, what we have here
is a failure.
Is a failure
to communicate.
If I'm the police commissioner, how many officers are? I mean, New York City got like 80,000 cops. How many cops we got?
Not enough. Not enough.
So since it's not, if I'm the mayor, if I'm the police commissioner, I want to meet every Baltimore City police officer. I want you to come into my office, set a schedule, like from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. I want you to come in. I want to meet you. I want to meet a Chuck Lee. And not only do I want to meet a Chuck Lee, I want to lift him up so that all of my other officers can get it in their brain. Chuck Lee is showing you how to do it. But they don't.
True.
I don't know why. It only makes, and I don't care where you're from, Baltimore, LA, whatever. Like bats. And I ain't throwing no cops under the bus, but when I think about that old Freddie Gray mess, we could have avoided it. But you guys helped me to see a different side. And I'm going to forever say something was fundamentally wrong. After the officers got charged, well, right there where the officers got charged. And let me say what I mean. The entire world, and I'm going to leave this alone after this, Chuck, because I know you're getting serious. The
No,
entire
you're good,
world
bro.
saw who put that knee in Freddie Gray back. They saw who tackled him in Gilmore Homes. They saw it. Everybody saw it. But when the thing finally go to trial, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 black officers on trial. And it's like, what in the hell just happened? So where it was a racially charged moment, not saying right or wrong, but we all saw the white cops put that knee on Shorty back. But when they go to trial, I'm seeing Caesar, I'm seeing Alicia White, I'm seeing the other black cop, and it's like, no, you got it wrong. The ones who did it, you done gave them a pass. And now you, the black cop, the decent black cop, I'm not cussing on this program because you're a good Christian man and you done prayed, but we as a community started hating you. Did you feel that?
Absolutely. Felt it for a long time. Not only in West Baltimore.
Like, although you didn't help them, their kids, their family, got their brother, help them, despite all you've done, even you, they looking at you like, and if I come over there to speak to you, then they looking at me cockeyed. And we ain't had none of that.
Absolutely.
How does it feel when you are the best you can be and your best isn't good enough?
It's tough. It's tough, and I witnessed firsthand. During my tenure, I spoke at a lot of schools, and I'm not going to mention a school, but one school I spoke at a commencement exercise, and so when I came out, my windows were busted, and I was hurt. I was hurt. I really was hurt. I said, all that you do,
I bust the windows out your
yeah,
car.
it wasn't a good feeling. Wasn't a good feeling. Not at all. Not a good feeling when you come out and your tires are slashed. It's not a good feeling that, what you do from the heart, and you do it because you're supposed to do it, not because somebody makes you do it, but this is what you're supposed to do. You took the oath to do this, to protect, to serve, to help people. And I tell you what's really bad is when you have your young kids at 7 and 8 flipping you the bird. And I had to pull over and speak to a grandparent in reference to that. I said, that's learned behavior. I said, that's learned behavior. I said, there's no way in the world he should be doing what he's doing. And of course, he didn't want to admit it to his grandmother, but I'm not going to, I have too much to do, too much going on to be, and I said, man, that's not acceptable. I said, ain't no way in the world I would do that, period. But he's with you, and this is what he's doing when he's with you. So imagine what he's doing when he's not with you.
So Chuck, as I think about it, Freddie Gray was the worst time ever to be a black cop in Baltimore.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. A lot of rebuilding, a lot of mending. You had to for what was going on. The trust was out the door. You had like starting from ground zero. Starting from ground zero. Absolutely.
Before Freddie Gray, when addicts who were not a part of the majority demographic of Sandtown, Upton, Druid Heights, when they landed on Pennsylvania Avenue, they immediately got G-checked. Get back in your car, go back to where you come from. And then they creep a couple blocks closer, or down, they pull down the street and they would pay a black runner to go and run and get them the dope and hope the dope would come back. It's not like that today.
Absolutely not.
Because since Freddie Gray, there's this kinder, gentler way of doing policing. We're going to retrain the officers. During Martin O'Malley, the pendulum was all the way to the right, locking up everything that moved. Now the pendulum has swung all the way to the left.
Right.
Now you can't lock somebody up for standing on the corner. You just told them to get off 4 hours ago. Is that correct?
That's right. The way it's set up now, they have a right to stand there. They have a right to be there. And
what kind of sickness is that? No, you don't. Get off the corner. Why, black man? Why are you standing on a corner for 8 hours? And not just the young boys.
The older ones, old men. Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out what's going on, but come on, we have to do better. We have to do better as a culture, as a race, as a group of men. We have to set the example for the ones that's coming up behind. It's a repeated stance every day. We have to want better. We don't want it. This is what we do. We repeat this every day. You walk outside your doors. Before I retired, I had one lady that would call me almost every night at 10:30. They back outside and get on the corner and I can hear them. And, I had to reiterate to her. I said, the way things are now, officers just can't go out and just say, hey, you got to get off the corner. 10 o'clock and I used to be getting ready for work the next day. Not standing on the corner slinging dope. Come on now, let's wake up and be real about this. Come on.
She's a hostage. She's a hostage in
our own
house.
Community. Exactly. I mean, we have to use common sense. We have to use common sense.
What do you think of the audacity of a so-called drug dealer who insists on selling in front of homeowners' property? I live in Sandtown. We got some Nehemiah houses a block away. And these people, those houses started at 60, and this is 20-something years ago. I know they're worth 100 plus now. How is it people in a $100,000 house allow a funky little drug dealer to sell dope in front of their house on a Sunday morning?
Wow.
Sunday morning, I think of my mama playing WEAA. I'm headed off to church. That's back when Perkins Square had them rolls, because we used to go to Perkins Square for the rolls. Then this new preacher, Cleveland Mason, took the rolls out, and I ain't been back since. I grew up on them rolls. He better get them rolls back. But people playing their church music, they want to hear the clip. They don't want to hear blues out, 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Thank God they took a break for Mother's Day. What do you think of a funky little drug dealer that want to come sell dope in front of your door? Not his door.
Right.
Your door that you own.
Right.
Or what do you think of the homeowners? All it takes is 2, 3 of them to band together and to make them phone calls about 10, 15 minutes to the same number. Chuck, people are hostage in $100,000 houses, and they're scared to death.
That's the point. They're scared, and with the way violence occurring on a daily basis, we have to have stronger communities. That's why when I would work and go to the community groups and community meetings, I encourage people getting out of their homes. Where I would walk through the communities, I would see that hey, you need to see what's going on inside or outside of your community. Once you had that strong community that would band together, wouldn't tolerate this. Once your drug dealers see, they're not going to stay there but for so long. But we have so many isolated incidents where no one wants to come out, no one wants to participate. But you got to come out of your comfort zone. You got to get out there and say, hey, you know what? I want better for my neighborhood, my street. I want better for it. You let them know you will not do this. But in the course of doing this, you also have alternatives. Here's your alternative for sitting on my corner 10 and 12 hours a day. You need to, hey, do you have a GED? Let's get back to school. Do you live in a community, number one? And if you don't live in a community, why are you pausing the people in this community? You don't live here.
I'm glad you said that, Chuck. I'm watching some videos because I want to learn. I come through the avenue last night, and I'm working to better understand our young people. And they were listening to this rapper, and they knew the words to the song, and that always piques my interest when I hear 5 or 6 cats reciting the same lines to the same song. But the artist was NBA Youngboy. I never heard of him. I don't think. You ever heard of NBA Youngboy?
I've heard him, but I couldn't tell you one song that he sang or rap about. I'm not.
Well, he had a couple. I mean, if Kendrick Lamar got some good numbers, this cat's originally out of New Orleans. He putting up 5-10 million hits in a week, in a 2-week period. These are big numbers, but the NBA stands for Never Broke Again.
Okay.
But I'm watching the video, and I'm not at all knocking the young man. I'm actually trying to find what is it about his music that has young people in Baltimore knowing the words. There's got to be something. If you ask me why I like DMX, I can articulate why I like DMX. So I'm trying to find the same. What's so inspiring about this artist that has so many people, young people, listening to it. But when I'm listening to his words, and as well as many other rappers, even Jay-Z, I saw this latest video, the latest designer this, designer that. Okay, I got it. You want a lot of money. I got that. Because you grew up broke. I didn't grow up broke. But you grew up broke, and you are willing to do anything to get bags of money so you can have bees and garden tools, so you can do what you want. I get it. You want to live a life of very little responsibility. Well, actually, in NBA Youngboy, I saw him with his baby. I saw him rapping. I saw a baby briefly in one of the videos. And I love that. I love fatherhood. But you're talking about, it's like, are we aware as a people, as a culture, of what we really value? We value, from what I see, we value drug dealers. We put drug dealers on a pedestal. Never mind that they killed 20 people, including one of your relatives, one of my relatives. Never mind that they're selling poison to people who are now addicted to fentanyl, to cocaine. I've heard the excuse, if they don't get it from me, they're going to get it from somebody else. This young man, Kendrick Lamar, in his song, The Heart Part 5, near the end of the video, he's got the face of Nipsey Hussle. And it's almost like he's describing the last moments of Nipsey Hussle's life, that although he tried to give back, some young black man felt it necessary to take his life. What do you see as our values in our culture? What do you see? Maybe I explained it, maybe I didn't.
Well, it's more materialistic. I see the value. We don't value things that are going to, like education, for instance. When I was in the school system, a lot of my kids when we were in middle school, if I didn't catch them in middle school, they weren't going to high school. They value, smoking weed or getting high before school. I'd rather have a pair of Jordans or a pair of Yeezys than have a computer in my house. I want to look good for people. I want to shine, but I wasn't brought up that way. You know what I mean? Hey, I had to go to school. I played ball, but in order to play ball, I had to make sure my grades were on point. My mom's wasn't going to let me pick up a basketball or throw a baseball unless my grades were right. You know, I couldn't get, you know, at the time we had lambskins coming out in jerseys back in the day when I was growing up. Couldn't get a Georgetown jersey, couldn't get a lambskin jacket, couldn't have a patent leather tennis shoes or any of that until my grades were on point. You know, some parents go out of their way to have their pre-K student with $500 outfit on, going just to go to kindergarten. The priorities are not in order. You know, we had placed more importance on looking good, you know, making sure our feet are looking good, and we had the latest jeans and, you know, getting a good education. You know, we put our priorities in the wrong perspective, and I see it all the time. So when a holiday come, I'll make sure my kids have whatever the latest outfit. You know, it's not a coincidence that every holiday you get a new pair of Jordans come out. It's not a coincidence that, you know, during certain times of the year, the Apple increases or updates its products. And
So
what
we
we
can
do,
be in line for the latest pair of Jordans, but we can't go
absolutely,
to a PTA meeting.
absolutely, absolutely bare,
I
very
want to put
bare.
this comment. I grew up with this guy. Please understand that the problems we face here in Baltimore are present in every urban city in America. We're clear about that. Systematic racism has been and always will be real. It's America. I buy that. There are powers that will do everything in their power to prevent blacks from ever unifying.
Hmm.
I don't agree with that part because they did it in Tulsa.
Hmm.
Tulsa had it worse than Baltimore. 1921, you gotta go.
No, you good. You're fine.
Blacks here, you know, in America, 1921. We think we got it rough now. A Don A, that's my buddy out there. They had it worse 100 years ago, 101 years ago. They had it even worse. They were lynching black men. We are lynching ourselves today. Ain't no white man lynching black. Well, the unsolved murders, that's always a question mark. But I'm talking about the brazen. You shooting people in public. That's a black man shooting you. Down the harbor. Ain't no white guy gonna shoot a black man down the harbor. It's wide open. You know who the perpetrator was. It was another black man. Is that racism? Did you shoot me because of racism? I'm asking, Chuck.
The love, bro. We don't love each other. You know, I was taught if I had a problem or beef with somebody, yeah, we hashed it out and we duked it out with our hands. But at the end of the day, we were friends again. I didn't go back and get a gun and shoot you because you beat me up. Hey, we hashed it out, but we all know today is a different time. You know, and we have folks that, you know, you can rarely say anything to. If you say the wrong thing, you know, Lord help you, you might be shot. We don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to talk things out. You know, we don't know how to sit down and hash them out as human beings. You know, one person said no respect. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. You know, I mean, the things that we're killing people for, and when you get to the bottom of it, it's minute. It's something that could have been dealt with on a
A lot of
positive.
times it's a girl. It's not drugs or money. It's a girl. I think you might have told me that a lot of times the stuff you roll up into, you think it's about drugs or money. No, somebody took somebody's girl.
Yeah, and since you're on that right now, you know, you've been having more women shot recently, killed within these last few weeks and months than before. So it's not only men being shot by men, but you have women shooters and you also have women victims. You know, I mean, it's more evident and prevalent these last few days and weeks,
So you
in
got more
months.
women. You got more women involved in the criminal justice system.
Absolutely,
More
absolutely.
women, more women in prison. More black women. And to
Yeah,
be in prison, you got to be
yeah.
hard. And so when they come uptown, a lot of them
Mhm.
still hard
Right, exactly, exactly.
and
Yeah.
bringing some of that jail behavior home,
Hmm. But like I said,
including turning out young girls.
mhm.
But we don't want to talk about that.
Right. But we got to go back to the basics, and we are so far from the basics. We don't talk to each other anymore. We hold beefs for years, senseless stuff. We used to talk it out. If I had a problem, I would go next door. We will talk it out and get it together. We don't know how to talk to one another. We don't know how to deal with one another. Until we sit down at the table, until we come ahead, we got to have better resolutions, better ways to.
Come on, Chuck. Truth be told, drug dealers are heroes to some people in our community.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the truth. They
Oh,
glamorize.
somebody just come home from jail. Oh boy, and I'm like, did he just hit the lottery? Did he just build a big corporation? No, this dude just come home from jail.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, they want to name a street after him. And it's like, what in the hell happened to our values? I understand George G. Kelson getting a school named after him, but I ain't never heard of people who break law being officially celebrated. I
It
mean,
has.
damn, since you do so much, do you know who Willie Adams was? Because you gangster, right? Do you know who Willie Adams was and what he did for black business? Who did you help?
That's a good question.
I saw a drug dealer. I saw them put 10 in his dome.
I remember you
While
telling
he
me.
was alive, people were scared of him. Then they put 10 of them in his dome.
Yeah.
Then
I
after he was
remember.
dead, people talking about, I'm going to go spit in the casket. I said, you should have did that when he was alive. Don't do some coward stuff. But we're scared of a drug dealer. A cat who put his pants on just like you.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody on Baltimore City Police Force is like you, Chuck. I'm sure you've seen We Own the City. I know Dave Lovelace chapped and talked about it so many times. We own the city. Despite all of that, the evidence comes out that you got some snakes beside you too, that you got to trust with your life. Well, damn, you might as well be in jail. Can't trust the streets. You can't trust fellow cops. What did the gun trace task force, the misgivings, the misdeeds, what did that do for the self-esteem of the Baltimore police?
Oh man, it knocked the air out. It really did. It knocked the air out. I mean, what they did was absolutely wrong. They violated the trust of people, the oath that they've taken or they have taken when they came on the department. It's what they've been saying for years. When I transferred from South Baltimore to West Baltimore, I heard stories. And people must understand that that's because you work in the police department. You don't always see, other officers. I didn't know these guys at the time. I heard stories, I heard rumors, I heard, things that were happening. People, hey man, I know what I do, you know what I do. But your boy or your guy robbed me. He took my money. He did this to me. And I would tell him, I said, if he did this to you, you need to report it. You need to say something. You need to tell somebody. You need to go to internal and say, hey, this is what happened. Yes, I'm out in these streets.
That's not going to go well.
But you know what, though? You do have some that has, actually has went into IID, say, you know what? Yeah, I was out here doing what I do, but I'm missing $500. I'm missing $1,000. And they would tell. And I'm glad that they did. And they stood up, hey. And
Ivan
some of
Bates
them,
did stand up for a couple. I saw Ivan Bates help bring relief to a couple of people in that situation. I did see that with my own eyes.
right.
A room full of people who were wrongly locked up, including business owners who had cash, and their cash was taken by a gun trace.
Yeah. And what I would say, we only seeing what we know about, but what about what we don't know about? The stuff that went on before it was reported. We're only looking at for what we heard and what they uncovered. And it's sad. It made my job hard. People looking at you. Are you going to get me in the alley? Are you going to take me in the alley? Are you going to run my pockets? And it's sad that this stuff was going on. And even before they were caught, I'm quite sure what's going on before that. So but I just try to do my job to the best of my ability every day. People looking for help. They're looking for help. They're looking for honesty. They're looking for someone to defend them and to hear them when they are in need. And that's what I took pride in. People want that. That's what they want to see. They want to live in peace. They want to live in harmony. They want to feel free. When I come out my door, I don't have to worry about somebody running down the street shooting at each other. Or my kids can't even go to the playground and play on the monkey bars or the swings. They want to have fun. I don't want to have to, hide my kids in the basement and they can't come outside. It's getting warm. So, of course, the pools are going to be open. You got to walk to some of your pools, and you got to walk to some of these mazes through the neighborhood to get where you need to go. They don't want to deal with that. They want to say, hey, I want to feel free to go where I need to go.
I'm going to give Donnie one more chance. Tulsa was blown up. The organization was blown up. We know this, Donnie. Rosewood, we know this. We know what whites did to us, Donnie. We're talking about what we are doing to us, Donnie. I guarantee you that if you or anyone ever begins to make strides and bring us together as a people, you'll be killed. Okay, that's some slave mentality. You can't keep threatening me with the hoopla. Come on, Donnie. We can do better than this. And I wasn't raised. And not only that, when we look at the sacrifices these people made. We gonna go out like this, like we can't do any better than this. No, we can't. We can't do better than this. Really, really. I'm gonna tell you where it starts, Chuck. It starts when that baby 2-3 years old, and some adult or somebody older is trying to make them look older. Let a baby be a damn baby.
You mean like give them some eyelashes? You mean add them eyelashes?
Or let them say little slick things out their mouth. Or let them call the mother by the first name.
Disrespectful.
And when you got a 25-year-old grandmother, what do you expect? My grandmother was old all my life, and I understand everybody didn't have an old grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
But now that what happened to you in childhood is not your fault. But as an adult, it is your responsibility to get some healing, some prayer, some training. When I watch us learn a TikTok dance in 30 minutes.
Right.
But we don't even, we know the players on the Ravens, but we don't know the teachers, our children's teachers. People, stop going on Fox telling all your damn business. Seriously. Hey. Okay. All right, Chuck, we had a nice bang today. Anything you want to say, Chuck? I mean, I was trying to cover a lot.
It's all good, man. I just appreciate the opportunity that's to speak this morning. And I'm just looking for a better Baltimore. I'm looking for, the people that want better, to come out in their communities, stop being afraid, come take back your community. Let's get back, to where, try to get back. I know it's not going to be the way it used to be, but let's make change for the better.
Hey, Donnie, I don't have to read the new Jim Crow. We know about mass incarceration. We know that America is 5% of the world's population, and we make up 25% of the world's inmates, and black men are 35 to 44. I don't need to read Michelle Alexander. We got Brother Babe been working here in the city of Baltimore before Michelle Alexander even got off the stoop. Mass incarceration is not new, but we can't make excuses. See, when you don't go to school, when you go to school, you send your children to school and they don't perform, they look good, but they dumb as crap. That starts at home. Donnie ain't out there selling drugs because his parents would have whipped broke his neck. But we have now reached a point in society, we letting other people educate our children, even in the 5-year-olds learning about sexuality. We got the latest gear, but we ain't got no common sense. Come on, Chuck, lift us up with prayer. Lift up the city of Baltimore, would you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Gracious God, again, we thank you for this time, this opportunity. Now, God, we ask and pray, God, you would touch the city of Baltimore as leaders, Lord God, as infrastructure. For God, we need you like never before. I ask and pray that you will hover your peace over the city, Lord God. We bind, Lord God, the death angel. We bind death, Lord God. We ask and pray, God, right now, Lord God, touch, Lord God, the families that are suffering, that are going through. God, touch, Lord God, the homeless, the sick, the shut-in. Touch, Lord God, the ones that are behind prison walls. God, I ask and pray, God, for the leadership, God, that you will give them wisdom, you will give them guidance, you will give them insight right now. And God, I ask and pray right now that you will answer prayers today, right now, for those who are seeking and looking for answers. God, continue to keep us in all that we do, that you get the glory and the honor. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Chuck Lee, if there's some people, do we need anything for the parade? What do we need for the parade? Let's put it up here now. Historic. That's June 11th. What's the phone number, big brother?
443-675-8222.
Let's put it up there, Chuck Lee. So who's going to be involved so far?
Oh man, we have at least 10 bands right now. As I stated before, we have Corvette clubs, 2 Corvette clubs, motorcycle club. We have some, yeah, exactly.
The Arabs?
I would love to have them. They want to come out. Absolutely. We'll love to get them.
The Arabs, man. We ain't going to be no good without the Arabs.
Hey, we'll make that call. We'll make that call. And we just ask anybody that want to be a part, that want to help out, come out, give me a call. Also, we ask for the community to come out in full effect, have fun. Like I said before, we need this. West Baltimore, the city needs this. We need a reprieve. We need a breath of fresh air. We need this for our city, and we can do it. I believe we can do it. I know we can do it. So I just look forward to the next couple of weeks.
Any advice for people running for governor?
Advice. Woo, you better seek God, man, for wisdom and opportunity, and how He wants to, to run this state of Maryland. It's a great state, but you can seek Him. Seek Him.
I think when people get into politics, they have noble intentions, but sooner or later they sip that Kool-Aid and get drunk with the notion of power. When we say the Lord's Prayer, we say, thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. The power. We got power, but we urinated away.
Yeah.
We have everything we need in order to be successful.
That's right. That's right.
But on Radio 1, we would always say information is power, but perishes unless it is used. We have to stop making excuses for ill behavior.
That's right.
It's unacceptable from anybody, me, you, anybody else. The preacher, the teacher, the police commissioner, the mayor. It don't matter. Nobody is immune. I tell you something else. When it's all said and done and we close our eyes and go on to glory, ain't nobody, they don't care if you're a mayor, if you're a hobo, if you're a drug addict, if you're a secretary, a doctor, that grave is the same. Ain't no Brinks truck coming with you.
That's right.
You come in this world alone and you're leaving alone. So you might as well try to be a blessing to somebody.
Absolutely.
Chuck Lee, I want to thank you for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday morning.
Stay cool. Thank you. Absolutely. You got it.
How heavy is that police gear, man? I had to wear a vest, the gun. That's like soldiers in the Middle East, 75-pound backpack, and you fighting a guy from the Middle East in flip-flops and a rocket launcher.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's at least 20, 25 pounds or maybe more.
Oh, I got one more big question. This is probably the most important question of the morning. Did you see the left hook?
I saw it. Yeah.
Did you see the left hook?
I saw the hook. Yeah. And
I saw the hook. And he slid. So if dude didn't get hit, he wasn't going to be there.
Right.
He was talking smack too.
Hey, got to back up that mouth. Got to back that mouth like in the street. Don't talk all that slick stuff in the street. You ain't ready. Yeah, he wasn't ready. Wasn't
Chunky,
ready.
we appreciate you. Up to day, down tomorrow, do your day, and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it regardless of how I feel. I am somebody. I am my brother's keeper. Good morning, world. Thanks, Chuck.
All right, Donnie.